Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. It's your host, Sir Colin Campbell here, and Gary A. McGowan, and you're tuned inside the Not So Black and White Real Estate Podcast.
So that there is how we start a show when we don't hit the right cue. But that's all right. That's all good. It's all
right,
good.
Welcome back. Sir Colin Campbell here in the building with Gary A. McGowan. You're tuned inside the Not So Black and White Real Estate Podcast. We have a special guest in the building today. The man, the legend, all the way from Kingston, Jamaica.
What ya top mo? Taka Jamaica and take your sayana.
The one they call Mr. Lova, Marvin Alexander. Pretty soon you're going to find out why Marvin is sitting in the hot seat today. Before we jump into that, here's a word from one of our sponsors.
This is Dion Begg from Butler Mortgage. For the past 15 years, I've helped families answer the big three financial questions. How do I pay off my home faster, pay for my kids' education, and build wealth for retirement? We answer these questions through helping plan and fund significant investment property portfolios. If you're a first-time buyer or buying your first or 10th investment property, please reach out for a free consultation so we can ensure you build the best portfolio possible. Search for mortgagesbydion.com or call me at 800-518-1221.
Beautiful, beautiful. Marvin, how are you, my man?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I am awesome as well. And so we have a new look on the show today. I'm not sure if you noticed.
Yes, the T-shirts by Lori, my assistant.
Lori,
thank you.
Thank you. This is one of the cool things that...
See?
What do we got here?
The Not So Black and White Real Estate Podcast.
Yep.
Gary A. McGowan.
Yep.
Sir Colin Campbell. She inverted that. See that? The Not So Black and White Real Estate Podcast. Pretty cool.
Hey, I just noticed that it's on a computer screen.
Yes.
I like it.
Yeah, she did that screen. And then because it's my first time on the screen, there's no screen, but she did throw in the Esquire. Which is good.
Nice.
It's much
Awesome.
appreciated.
So, as with any podcast and with any guest, we like to, explain why they're here, why they deserve to sit in this hot seat. And let me tell you, we're raising the bar today, Marvin. Did you know that?
No, the chair is a little high.
Yeah, okay.
I'm having some difficulty reaching the ground, but thank you.
Yeah. Well,
there we go. That's so bad.
All good. So I like to read the bios, but I got pages and pages of bios, so I'm going to condense it. And here's what we got, and then we'll get Marvin into explaining, his little backstory in the 2 minutes or so, why he's in real estate and how he through real estate, how that led him to sit in this seat. So here's what we got. Marvin Alexander has been licensed in real estate for over 21 years and has consistently received national and international recognition and awards as one of North America's top realtors. And I could go through the list of all the accolades. Basically what it says is, Marvin, you're number one.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's 21 years US. It's 27 Canadian now.
You do that
so
conversion.
That's
important.
Yeah.
That is important.
I like that.
Through this and through some of our Facebook posts, and if you're listening on the podcast later, Marvin, you're the owner of 2 Keller Williams Real Estate Brokerages here in York Region, New Markets,
right.
And Aurora, and in Canada, that's right.
Right.
And the other one is in our nation's capital, which
Yes.
is Ottawa. And that one, there's only a couple of years old, correct?
That's right, yes.
And the one here in Newmarket, how old is that one?
So we'll be 10 years old at the end of the year.
10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you, Marvin, Colin and I are fortunate to work out of that brokerage. It is the number one brokerage by agent counts, by profit, or market share in the area. And in that short amount of time, that is phenomenal.
I'm very proud of everybody. You know what? We have a great team of people and wonderful realtors. And really, it's all attributable to all of you.
Well, we have great leadership, right? And that sets the foundation. So
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. A lot of the stuff in here we're going to go through, and yes, we can talk about accolades, but I tell you what, accolades are boring.
Yeah.
It's the stories behind those. That's what I want to get into, right? And so why don't you tell the audience in 2 minutes or less, who Marvin Alexander is and kind of where you started from and how you got here.
Sure. I'm not sure about 2 minutes. I'll do my best. But you know what? I want to share a story that I've never shared before. Is that okay?
Please.
Okay. So, we did a little Kingston, Jamaica thing at the beginning. My parents are actually from Jamaica. They were born there. I grew up very humble beginnings in an area in Toronto called Flemington Park. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but
Know the area.
yeah, you got to be tough or fast, or if you're lucky, both. Both.
Tough and fast.
So I grew up there. Very humble beginnings, no doubt about that. And I never really had an intent to be in real estate. So here's the interesting story. So we were expecting my second child, and we were in a very small home in Toronto, and I needed a larger house. So a realtor by the name of Linda Mayer, she's passed away since. I was referred to her, but here's how I got referred to her. I'm going to try and do it in under 2 minutes. So I tried to sell my own home. My house was located at the corner of Pharmacy, just between Eglinton and Lawrence, and it was the second house in, actually. So I did open houses for 6 months trying to sell my own home. And back then there was one of those private companies called Pear Tree, and they gave you professional for sale sign and professional 2 open house signs. And actually back then we glued the pictures on the feature sheet. So you got 10 feature sheets with a front picture of your home glue sticked on. So for 6 months I tried to sell my own home, and I couldn't.
And you weren't a realtor at the time, obviously.
I was not a realtor at the time. Okay. So then what happened was a realtor listed a house kind of down the street from where I lived. And I thought, this is perfect, because in order for them to go to that house, they likely have to drive by mine. Anyway, it sold in a week. Nobody came to my home. Then the same realtor a week later listed the house across the street. And I thought, it's inevitable now, right? I mean, it's right across the street. Anyhow, that also sold in a matter of days. Nobody came to my home. And then the sort of the last kick, or what did it say, straw that broke the camel's back, or what have you. He listed the house next door and sold it in a day. So I tapped out. I listed with this guy. He listed my house for more money than I was asking and sold in a day. Yeah. And then I get referred to Newmarket. I had a wonderful realtor, as I said, Linda Mayer. And she was showing me around, and I ended up buying a new home. But, she was involved in the process and very understanding. So now we fast forward 6 months later. I'm in Newmarket. I don't know anybody. And down the street, 10 o'clock at night, comes Linda Mayer with her husband driving down the street. And I was out there sort of looking up at the stars, no shirt on. I had abs back then. No shirt on, kind of figuring out what I wanted to do with my life, because even though I was in a less expensive home and it was a little bit larger, I couldn't really afford it. So I said, what are you doing here? She said, well, I was actually looking for you. I said, why? She said, I had a great time showing you around in my car, and I just took the job as a manager of Coldwell Banker in Newmarket, and I think you'd be a great realtor. I said, Linda, you've got the wrong guy. I tried to sell my house for over 6 months, and I couldn't. Nevertheless, I went through the courses. I got my license. I went to that office, and the day I got there, she had been fired. Wow. So now my mentor, and quite honestly, the only person I even knew in Newmarket was no longer there. Yeah, Newmarket, period. Yeah. Right? Never mind just real estate. So anyways, I was I was salesperson of the month in my first 2 months there as a rookie. And then I was recruited over to competitor, which was Remax. And then from there, I was the top individual realtor in my first year. And then I was recruited to Royal LePage after 5 years there, because those offices were corporately owned and they were trying to build them up as franchises. And top in Canada there for a number of those 12 years. And then here I am now at Keller Williams, and I'm here with you.
What?
So awesome. That's the story.
So if you want to get on the podcast, that's the path you have to take.
Not the recommended path, perhaps, but that's what happened.
No, what I heard in that story, and it's very interesting, it's patterns that showed up in your life. And when you started at Coldwell, you were number one for the month, rookie of the month. Mm-hmm. Then you became rookie of the year or whatever. Right. Then you moved to a new brokerage, you were number one that year. You moved to a different brokerage, you were number one that year. Mm-hmm. What is that red thread that connected you? What allowed you to be successful at every venture that you went to?
I think the number one word in our business would be grit. And that's what I think would be the thing I would answer. If I could answer it a bit more concisely than my intro, Gary, sorry about that. It would be the word grit. I mean, I think that I had a burning desire to succeed. I asked a lot of great questions of a lot of great people, because at that time, a company like ours, like Keller Williams, didn't exist, where it was collaborative and you'd share and so forth. So you'd have to find out by osmosis or relationships or asking lots of great questions. So that's what I ended up doing. So that's how that all worked out.
So that work ethic of just grinding, hustling, whatever we want to call it today, grit. Where did that come from?
Well, it's interesting. They say when you don't have nothing, you got nothing to lose. So when you grow up in a humble way, I think you either accept that and you become complacent, or you strive for improvement. It's one or the other, typically speaking. And I've never really been a complacent person. And the reason I shared the story is really I believe that it doesn't matter where you start, you can achieve anything you want. And it's important that we instill that on our children, on our colleagues, on ourselves, because sometimes people see, that there's, I've been fortunate enough to be number one in the world for Keller Williams a few times, and we have lots. I'm the president of 9 different corporations and have things like that going on, and
Yes.
they would think it was handed over, and it truly was not. So
Okay.
yeah, I think you either, whatever situation you have, you can take it in any direction you want. That would be the moral of that very long-winded story.
No, I like that.
Right.
I like that. Now, Marvin, at what point did you decided that, okay, enough of being an individual agent, I'm going to start my own brokerage?
Right. So I was in the process of buying another brokerage, and we had made a deal. That person that owned it was retiring, and then they ended up selling it to somebody else, even though we had a deal, just pending paperwork. So I looked at it and I thought, I believe the culture of a company can be different than the typical traditional real estate company, where it's very cutthroat and walk around with paperwork against your chest and so forth. So I designed a company that I thought would be collaborative and very education-based and be different. And it's so funny, Colin, because everybody I showed this business plan to said, there's no way this will work. And but I was determined.
Yeah.
So I heard a little bit about Keller Williams. I didn't really know much about the company. So I went down and visited in the United States several times, about 8 or 9 actually, before deciding to align with the company. And what I realized was there were some deliverables there that were at such a large scale that I couldn't bring them as an independent. Because originally I thought I would open my own company, Alexander Realty, and attract like-minded people. But what I did do is I named the company from day one Keller Williams Realty Centers, plural, with the full intention of opening up multiple locations and linking them all together. So we're approaching 250 realtors now in those locations, and the Ottawa office is only a couple of years old. We're well over 200 agents there as well. Yeah. And there's a nice synergy going back and forth between the offices. So I'm very proud of everyone. Everyone's doing a wonderful job.
So...
wait, before you dig into that,
go
we're getting lots of comments here and a few shout outs. So, Carrie Zito, we all know we love Carrie.
I love you too, Carrie. By the way, these are all prompted. Before I came, I texted everybody I know. Thank you so much, Carrie. What a beautiful picture.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah,
lovely.
Yeah. Cool. Oh, sorry, I cut you off.
No, that is okay. What is happening inside? I want to really get to what was happening inside of you, whether it's, take me into your mind where you're an extremely successful agent. Where that decision came that I'm no longer going to be an individual successful agent. I want to help other agents and now build a brokerage.
Right.
Because now you go from, now the responsibility of your family to, I want to adopt 250 kids, right? or more, now
and their kids.
And now they're a part of my family, and it takes a special type of person. So help me understand that.
Okay. Well, first of all, I appreciate you saying that, because that was a big part of the deliberation, thinking about all of these families and, all these people, their families, their children, administrative assistants, staff, and saying that responsibility falls on me, So here's what it was. I don't know how to really articulate it very well, other than to say this. I just knew that this vision, that this company was meant to live. I don't know what really, you can call it divine intervention or whatever you want to call it, but I knew that it was meant to be. And despite being discouraged from everybody around, and quite frankly, I was in and out of the hospital like 7 or 8 times with stress-related things launching the company, because it's very stressful, right? there was grit. I knew it. I knew that it had to happen, and I knew that if I did it correctly, and we all did it correctly, the company would be bigger than any one person, including me. And I'd like to believe that's where we are, and that's the direction we're continuing in.
Yes.
So, I've always been the kind of person that wanted more. So, I proved to myself and I guess to my family that I could sell real estate. And then I proved that I could be number one at a brokerage. And then I'd proven that I could be number one in the country. And then I'd proven that I could be number one in the world. And then I decided, okay, now let me try something new. And that was to run a brokerage. And of course, from there I also was the director for Canada. And there's probably one more thing to come, I would say. So, yeah.
Okay.
That's it. So, a lot of reasons, but that was the progression.
So let's talk about grit for a second, because as you said earlier, that's kind of the money word, or the common word that everyone defaults to, especially in our industry. And people talk about, well, I've got grit in this, I've got grit in that. What does grit look like to you?
I think grit is the resolve to never give up, to believe in yourself even when others don't believe in you, to accept that you're not always going to succeed, but not to accept failure as the ultimate outcome. I think that would be the way I would define it. So, look, I always tell people the path to A to B is never how you envision it. It's never a straight line. There's going to be things along the way that throw you off course. And you have to be able to put things back on the rails and continue down that road to get to where you envision going. So I think maybe it's a buzzword, I don't know. But for me, it truly is something that resonates with me and what I've always endeavored to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that grit, because I am probably where grit is most exposed, or the lack thereof perhaps, is those, the peaks is easy, it's those valleys where perhaps you learn the most. Talk to us about some of the valleys and how you fought out of those.
Wow, how long is this show?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've had them in all aspects of my life, and I think we all have, personal and business, right? And some very, very difficult ones. I mean, to the point of at one point I was living in a trailer in Bracebridge with 3 children, commuting back and forth on my own, raising them and digging out of a very difficult situation, right? So maybe it boils down to your big why, like what really truly motivates you. I knew that I had the sole responsibility at that point. I mean, I'm married to a lovely woman now, but and we've known each other for 20 years. I can't believe it. Yeah. Wow. But at that point, it was my sole responsibility, and my sole focus was to make sure they were okay. So that's about as big a why as you can get. Yeah. So it was getting up at 4 a.m, doing that hour and 45-minute drive, lunches and stuff packed, breakfast done. Sometimes they'd be out and it was cold. I'd pick them up at 6 o'clock at a playground, drive all the way back up, baths, dinner, and so on. But it's all worked out, and they're all doing extremely well. Awesome. So I'm proud to say. Yeah.
Awesome.
I love that story.
Yeah. In all honesty, I share that story. Obviously not into the detail and so much, but people will often ask, who's Marvin Alexander, or why do you choose to be at Keller Williams? And there's so many reasons why to be at Keller Williams, but there are specific reasons why we choose to be at Keller Williams Realty Centers, right? Well, and frankly, obviously you're one of them, and the leadership and everyone else, and what your leadership, I think the important piece of the pie here is who that attracts. Right? Yeah. Top realtors. I started before Colin did at the brokerage, and we wouldn't have had that opportunity to have something like this otherwise, right? And just the people that are interacting with each and every one of us every day is because of what you set forth more than 10 years ago. It started well before that, didn't it?
Yes, for sure. Well, that's very nice of you to say. Thank you.
So enough buttering up.
Yes. I would like to really get into more in leadership and helping develop us as leaders, our listeners as leaders, and so people can see what successful leadership is like. Gary went through your accolades. You mentioned a few of them as well. What is your greatest accomplishment to date that you would say?
In business?
Outside of business, just Marvin Alexander's greatest accomplishment.
Well, I mean, I think the obvious and probably standard answer is your family.
Okay, take
children.
that away.
I knew you were
Okay,
going to strip that away.
That goes without saying.
That's a pretty heavy question, to be quite frank with you. I think for me on a personal level is I'm not the same person that I was when I was in a variety of other environments, and I tell people there's a difference between being fortunate and being lucky. But I reflect back on that and I realize, look, you know what? You might be a product of your environment, but you can also have the discipline to change that, to change your stars, if you will. So I think the biggest success for me has been to improve who I am as a human being, as a leader, and to watch the people around me flourish. I know it sounds like a bit of a corny answer, but it's true. I mean, a big reason I developed the company, Colin and Gary, was to create wonderful experiences for people around me and watch them thrive and build some sort of a legacy that can go on beyond just my tenure with the company, right? So I think we're on the right track. I mean, look at the things we're doing. Look at this. It's amazing. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what all this technology is, as Kirby Chan out there will tell you, but it's amazing.
Shout out to Kirby Chan.
Shout out to Kirby Chan. I had to. But Kara, you can come back on and say you love me anytime you want. It's wonderful. And thank you, Mike Russo. See that?
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And thank you again, Carrie. my only 2 fans, but they're very devoted.
They're loyal.
I love that about
Here we go.
them.
Here. Let's flip through some of these.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Thank you, Christine. That's so nice. Privileged to be in business with you as well. All of you.
And Christine is our broker of record, so shout out there to
Yeah, big shout out to Christine.
There's got to be a better title. I'm putting you on the spot now for broker of record. That just sounds so very, like she is more than a broker of record.
It's like managing broker, and there's all these terminologies.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm always open to reinventing things. I mean, RICO compliant, okay.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. But I mean, because she's so much more than that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
Okay, Christine.
A champion of broker of record. I don't know.
Champions of brokers. Yeah, something like
We'll
awesome.
call her Captain Marvel. The Avengers are out right now.
I love it.
That was great.
It. Yeah. So now with your path to where we are today, who would you say who would open doors for you?
I'd like to be able to give you examples of people that have. To be very honest with you, it was more the opposite. It was a lot of roadblocks along the way, which made me realize that I need to open doors for others just because it didn't happen for me. It really wasn't. I think, I understand why you're asking that question, because that seems so second nature based on the way we do things, right?
Yeah.
We're all about opening doors for one another and helping one another succeed, because we know there's so much out there. There's so many opportunities. We don't have to, be like this with our information. But Colin, 27 years ago, 25 years ago, 20 years ago, even 15 years ago, it wasn't this way. At least it wasn't for me. So, and I think the industry at large is still very much that way. And it's a shame. That's a traditional approach that I think needs to be changed. It needs to be collaborative. There's enough out there for all of us, and we're proving it. I mean, we're staying our course. I believe we're the fastest growing, and I certainly believe we're having the best time doing it as a team, right? It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I heard. No.
I didn't give you what you wanted.
No.
What's going on?
No.
Oh, you got one of those.
Yeah.
Colin went deep there.
I went very
Yeah.
deep there.
Yeah.
No, that was good. That was good.
That was good.
Look at Pierre. Isn't he awesome? Gave me a trophy. Thank you,
Yeah.
Pierre.
Yeah, trophy. I don't know what the trophy's for, but
The wife's going to follow next and be trophy wife.
trophy. Oh, hey.
Yeah, I know. That just happened. I would drop the mic, but it looks expensive.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not mine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. There you have it.
So tell us now about
Wait, I like this one.
Richard.
Kirby Chan, the real tech master.
Thank you, Kirby.
He knows where to provide.
Attaboy, Kirby.
Yeah.
Tech mentor. I love it. Tell us when your leadership style. How how have you developed your leadership style? Is it someone you've looked at, you model, books you've read? Because you have your fans, people in your tribe that are really reaching out to you. Tell us more about the leadership and how you choose to be this type of leader that you are.
I think it's an ever-evolving process. So it doesn't matter whether you're the leader of a team, you're the leader of your own business, you're the leader of your household, or in this case, you're the leader of a company. Successful leaders realize that they're only successful if everybody around them is successful. And learning is part of that. Mm-hmm. So for me, I have read a lot of books on leadership, and I am fond of the John Maxwell books on leadership, and of him. I'm a fan of his for sure. And I think I've read them all, if not all, most of them. And it's experiential too. Mm-hmm. Through interacting with people. And being open to self-improvement. But what I have realized is that I have to continually improve as a person and a leader in order to lift the lid, as they say, an opportunity for everybody around. And I'd like to think I'm doing a pretty good job of that. I mean, I can always do better, but I think to be a great leader, you have to be a great student too. So that's part of it.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
So Kirby's just throwing some digs at you, but we can bring them on because we can make fun of him, and he has really nothing to say. Yes, Marvin Rees.
Wow, look at that! Wow, look at that. Just Kirby, we have a delay in processing of checks. For anybody who would ask him, Chan brokerage. Yes, it'll be okay. Wow.
There you have it.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
See.
There she is.
There she is. Good
There's
job,
Lori.
Lori. Wonderful.
Thanks, Lori.
I had a hard time squeezing my pecs into this shirt, but I'm sure these are pecs, right? Yeah.
Okay.
But they're there.
They are today.
I have two of those. Yeah, sometimes more, unfortunately. All right.
Good.
What do you got there, Gare?
So we talked about leadership and leadership style and who are you following from that leadership style.
Excuse me.
What's been some of your favorite, not leadership decisions, but favorite decisions that has allowed people to grow?
Well, I'll tell you. Without being specific initially, what I'd say is this. The best decisions are when you do this. When people come to you with a situation, my favorite thing is, so what do you think? What's your opinion? If you ask anybody on our leadership team, the style I believe they would comment on, maybe they'll jump in on this, is collaborative. So my way is to always gather information from the people around me that I trust, get their input. I mean, there's sometimes I make a decision that, may be a slightly different direction. But I think that as a leader, when you make a decision of any type, you should explain the rationale behind it. And gathering information from those around you who've had different experiences and been involved in different aspects of the business is key. So I ask lots of questions, and I allow lots of room, for lack of a better way of explaining that, for our people to go out there and be the leaders they can be, not to ever be micromanaged. It seems to work the best, and it's my comfort in doing it that way. So, I think if you're leading a team, you have to give the people on your team the ability to grow and make some decisions. And are they going to make mistakes? Maybe, but that's okay. I mean, we all did. So I think that's part of it. I don't know if they're going to chime in or not, but I think you'll
we'll
see
that.
I'll have
a look here.
They're like, I don't know, what's going on?
Yeah.
Now, before you go in there, let me, I just need to jump in. Tell me about execution, because as leaders, let's say we would have gone to a conference, we're reading a book, we're modeling after someone who's successful as well. How do we make sure all that information that is collected is now implemented when you're managing a team, when you have, other people that are responsible for certain aspects of it?
Right. So what I would suggest, a lot of the times we go to these conferences, we're all pumped up, and we come back and it dissipates.
Yeah.
So before I give you the answer to that, you can ask anybody in our company. We have these 15-minute stand-up meetings every morning from 8:45 to 9 where we all gather. And if you were to ask them, they would tell you it's rapid fire, decisive answers, unless it's something that requires more investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not able to make decisions and put things into action, I mean, you're not really setting the correct example for those around you. So if I was to go away on a conference, whether it's family reunion with Keller Williams or mega camp or anything else for that matter, before I got home, I would prioritize a list of 10 top things and then when they're going to be done by, and I would rifle them all off and put it out there to everybody on the team. This is what we're going to do. Let's get it done. So, you know, we're making a lot of changes, a lot of improvements at the brokerage currently, and it's very straightforward stuff. If it makes sense, just do it. And preparing to prepare is not the way to do it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be perfect immediately, but just get it out there and do it. Because we all get busy, you know. And when you lead that way, others will do the same thing. So,
Cool.
yeah.
Cool.
Go for it.
Okay, so we're going to do a couple of things here, a couple of fun things with you.
Nice.
For those that are watching at 3:16, we're going to answer all the questions that have been coming up online here. So if you have questions,
Put them in now.
put them in now, comment, like it, share it, send this to people who you think this will add value to. And even if you don't think it will add value, send it anyways, because you just never know who's going to watch this, and it could be life-changing. Who knows? At least I think it could be.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Marvin, we do this with all of our guests.
There's
Rapid
fire, man.
There's fire. There we go. So these are what we call rapid fire questions.
All right.
They-
Let me move my chair a little
Yeah,
closer.
yeah. You better sit
My
up straight for
seat's
this
just
one.
not hot. It's going. Okay, go for it.
And they are all serious.
Okay.
Okay. Let's start off with an easy one. Favorite season of the year?
100% summer.
Summer.
No
Is
doubt.
it wrong for a vegetarian to eat animal crackers?
Absolutely not. I would recommend the buffalo crackers.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
First celebrity crush.
All the Jennifers. Lopez, Aniston, Gardner. Yeah.
We're done.
You can't beat all the Jennifers.
You can't. Big dogs or small dogs?
Small dogs.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
you've got
With
one.
a big bark.
There you go.
Yep.
What superpower would you like to have?
X-ray vision. No doubt about it.
Yeah, we're not asking why.
All the obvious reasons.
Yeah,
All
Jennifer's.
Jamaican blood, you know.
No. Cake or pie?
Pie.
The Godfather or Star Wars?
Godfather. Don't need any further. The Godfather is the answer.
Hilarious. Name one of the 7 dwarfs.
There's so many that I love. I'm going to go with Grumpy.
Whoa, wow.
I'm only clapping because there's only been one other answer.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you guess what it is?
Sleepy.
Yes.
Yes.
Consistent. You're the first person to name somebody else. And I always tell people, no matter what they say, don't read into it. You said grumpy, so all right.
Just try giving me cake instead of pie. You'll see, Grumpy.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, a couple more here. What's your favorite carb? Bread, pasta, or rice?
You know what? Can you combine them in a risotto? Because that would work for me.
You just did.
Thank you.
What? Here's a good question for you, actually, because you
All right.
love your cars.
Yes, I do.
You have
Cars.
cars. That's a
Yeah.
good way to say it.
Yeah.
What's the fastest speed you've ever driven in a car?
250 kilometers an hour.
Wow, where?
You were at the steering wheel? You're
I
at the
was.
helm?
Yes.
Yikes!
Where?
Next question.
Next question. And following up with that, last question. Climb a mountain or jump from a plane?
Oh, man, I think I'd take a hard pass on both. But if I had to pick one or the other, I'm deathly afraid of heights.
Are you
I think
really?
I'd jump from a plane, yeah.
Wow.
That's why I'm born 5'4".
That's right.
Okay, jump from a plane.
Jump from a plane. There we go. Rapid
Love
fire
it, love it, love
questions.
It would be the greatest Depends commercial of all time.
That's right. All 5'4". I often I enjoy introducing Marvin on different, whether it's workshops or educational workshops, my investment workshops, whatever it may be, because he is one of the few guests that I actually stand above. So thank you for that.
Yes, he does. He
Very
towers.
few.
Yes.
At 5'6", I tower over you.
There's a
You
lot
know?
of height there, 5'6".
I tell you. What do you got for us, Colin?
Excuse me, Colin. I just want to tell Gary one thing.
Yes.
I am way taller when I stand on my wallet. So you know.
Oh, hey now.
There you go.
There you go.
Zing! Do it.
Oh, wait.
You got a sound? Do a sound.
No, I don't like
Thank
that one. I think it was more that one.
Okay.
Love it. Want to get into family, because as business owners, as leaders, when we are in the middle and we're grinding, how does one balance family and work? Is there such thing as work-life balance? I guess that's two questions in there. So
Yeah, some people say no. I say yes. I think there is. I think that, you have to look at why you're doing all of this. A lot of people answer the question, there is no such thing. I think it's balance and counterbalance all the time. There's a give and take, but you have to maintain the right amount of time with your family and the right amount of time for yourself. Otherwise, trust me, over 21 years US or 27 Canadian, I've seen many people, many families destruct over that, or some people self-destruct. So if you have a date with your wife, with your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, kids, or yourself, you need to maintain that. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about spending time with yourself.
This is a PG rated show.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just checking. All right. So it was low hanging fruit, pardon the pun.
I know.
Okay. You know what? I enjoy.
So I had to. Too easy.
I know. I actually enjoy that, and I think that you learn a lot about yourself when you do spend time on your own. It gives you time to self reflect, and sometimes doing nothing is the best thing you can do. Right. So
I'm gonna make a shirt like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you meditate?
Yes.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
In fact, I started doing that in 2011. I didn't realize it was 2011, but I keep a little book on my desk and I make notes on things that I would like to take on. And apparently, I started that in 2011. I just reflected on that last week.
Wow.
So, yeah, pretty cool.
Awesome. A shout out to some of the people watching online. Of course, Laurie, Kent, Robert,
Thank you.
Mike, Kirby,
Look at
Melissa.
that. Thank you,
Marvin is the GOAT.
Yeah.
Wow, the greatest of all
I
time.
love that.
I
Thank
like
you,
that.
Mike.
That should be on a shirt.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, Mike will be getting Kirby Chan's paychecks from now on.
Oh, well done, Mike. Yeah,
Fantastic.
good for you.
Mike, good for you, buddy.
Kirby does okay from time to time.
Yeah, it works out all right. I love Mike.
Cool. So a couple more minutes before we get in front of the questions here, but
Sure.
talk to us a little bit about, how can realtors today, because we know there's a lot of realtors, especially here in the GTA, on the Toronto Real Estate Board, over 50,000,
Right.
and there's only a small number that really have that market share,
Yes.
right? So how do those realtors stand out from the crowd? How do they make a difference in the people that they're around?
Do you know what they all have in common?
They breathe.
Yes, they do.
eat.
Yeah.
What?
And they talk to people.
Yeah.
So look, I say it over and over again. You can make this as complicated or as simple as you want it to be. Lead generation, you can call it door knocking, flyers, marketing, telemarketing, whatever you want to call it. Those are mechanisms to get to one thing, and that's that conversation. So I assure you, everybody out there, if you have 20 meaningful conversations or more per day, all of your business and financial troubles will go away. But you have to stick to that no matter what. So on my own, I was in my earlier years. I think my first year in the business, I did 35 transactions, and then I was in the hundreds when I was on my own with one assistant, and had years as many as 300 and some odd transactions. And really, it's just about talking to people. And there's all kinds of little tips and tricks. I mean, you've been to some of my sessions. Deal of the week you can call about, and different things like that. And certainly there's a lot more we can talk about, but those conversations have to happen. I mean, and if it's directly in proportion to your earnings. So if you reflect on how many people you spoke to in a meaningful way about real estate in the last 7 days, and the answer is somewhere between 0 and 3 or 4, it's just not going to be enough, right? And those conversations need to be about bringing people something of value. And what we really have as value in terms of our profession is information. So if you're giving people great information, you're helping them, and you're coming from a place of contribution, and you're more consultative in nature, the rest will work out, And I don't know if it's on your list, but I'm hoping we're going to talk a little bit about building wealth for realtors too.
Then let's do that now.
Let's do that now, because another good friend of all of ours, Marvin.
Hey, Mark, how are you doing?
We're both.
Yes, I understand. Mark for president.
Yes,
I know.
Yeah. In America, though. But, let's talk about the different pillars of generating wealth. And I know
Sure.
you like to have a couple of different pillars. And what does that look like to you?
Yeah. So I think that being realtors, it's like the ability to lawfully have insider trading. We see the best deals when they come out. We see the best, listings when they come out. We have opportunities to help people with second mortgages. There's so many things we can do. So I don't think we should be unilateral in our approach. I mean, we should look at acquiring real estate. We should look at learning commercial real estate and acquiring commercial as well, doing second mortgages. I know your family does. You do a lot of that stuff, and I know, Colin, that's of interest to you as well. And it really is a key component. So when you can have residual income or horizontal income streams that passively equal or exceed your vertical income, you've got something pretty special there.
Now, you just threw out two terms, vertical and horizontal income.
Yes.
Could you dive a little deeper into that?
It's still a PG show, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So setting it up.
Okay. So vertical income is actually what society trains us to do, which is to exchange time for money. Go out, get a great job, exchange time for money. Great education and so forth. Parentally, we're taught to do that. The educational system teaches us to do that. But the truth of the matter is, you can't save your way to wealth. Very, very difficult to do. So horizontal income is interchangeable with the term passive income. Yeah. So in our particular field, we have the unique opportunity to have earnings whereby we can take a portion of our vertical income, Colin, and actually move it into horizontal income opportunities such as buying an investment property or second mortgages. There's lots of different things we can do. And real estate is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a get-rich-slow scheme. It's gradually, then suddenly. And when it happens, it's like one day you're like, holy smokes, right? You might even use different words than that, but you know what I mean. Yeah. And, I
like
had...
wow.
Yeah, like super wow. This is amazing. Gee whiz, Gary.
That's right.
Yeah. So for me, I have, I don't even know, but I'm going to say 10 major investment properties. 7, I think, or 6 of them are commercial in nature. And it's just been a life changer. And a business changer for me.
So at what point would you recommend as agents, so someone who is, picking up 1 or 2 investment properties, at what point would you say start looking at commercial?
Well, I think you have to familiarize yourself with the industry. What's interesting right now in our particular marketplace is that's actually what's firing hot. So the cool thing about having both commercial and residential investments is that when one aspect of the market is maybe a little cooler, the other one is actually typically firing quite hot. There's advantages to commercial tendencies as well in terms of any issues that might come along the way. So I think it's just a question of familiarizing yourself with how that all works. Take some courses on it if you're not, and I would just dive right into it. Yeah, okay. It's really cool. Yeah, it's been really good for me.
Cool. Okay, we're getting a whole bunch of questions in here, so I want to actually dive into them to make sure.
Are they real questions?
They are real questions.
Okay, good.
Not all from Kirby, by the way.
Okay, perfect.
Let me just scroll back up here. Okay, so the first one, this is from Pierre, and we already know this answer. Who's your favorite KWRC, Keller Williams Realty Center sales rep?
Can I pick 2?
Yeah, it's probably going to be like Carrie, Zito, and Jennifer Jones.
You know what? My true favorite knows who they are.
Oh, well said.
Yeah,
well said.
They know.
Here we go.
Thank you, Pierre.
Yeah, that's right. This is from Mike Russo. What advice would you give someone new to the industry?
Yeah. So first of all, I think that's a very, very good question because there really isn't a wonderful program other than maybe Ignite with Keller Williams to help fast track people to success after graduating. But it would be this. First step is to develop a value proposition. So what do you stand for? You should be able to articulate that in a minute and a half or less. So if I was a buyer or a seller, why would I use you? So that's step 1, Mike. And then all of your branding needs to be synonymous with that value proposition. So often we go to graphic designers and say, design a logo. But the logo is not really synonymous with what you stand for. So that's step 2. And then you need to develop a listing kit, a buyer kit, a CMA, a marketing plan, and a guarantee of your services, along with, of course, a business card and a personal brochure. So once you have your toolkit, then it's just down to the basics of speaking to 20 people or more per day. And if you're going to call your sphere of influence, here's what I would suggest you do. I think you have to clear the air with them. If you're new in the business, at the back of their mind, their biggest concern is that you may let them down, or you may do a poor job if they refer somebody to you. So you clear the air and say, listen, I take referrals very seriously. If you're kind enough to refer someone to me, I promise you I'll do such a wonderful job. They're going to call you and thank you for referring me to them. Would you happen to know somebody that could assist in buying or selling a home? That's how I would do it. And if you stick with that, Mike and everyone else who might be newer, that's the key. Yeah.
Cool. I lost the question that I wanted. Oh, here we go.
Right.
This is from Pauline Rodriguez. What was the biggest lesson you learned in real estate that changed your life? So she's going deep and big.
Yeah.
Change your life in the direction of your business.
Great question, Pauline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably about 7 years ago and maybe 6 or so years ago when you had a conversation with me and then a conversation with Marvin about a year ago. He said, this is the brokerage. So we joined. That probably changed your life, yeah? No.
Yeah. Well, it's two things, right? Yes, you did. Yeah. It took me a while to process that, Colin. Yeah. I was still thinking of that question. Lesson's a big thing. I mean, I don't know if there's any one lesson other than you have to believe in yourself. No matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the biggest life-changing moment in terms of my business was when I decided to open up the company. That for sure would be it, Pauline. But
cool.
Pauline, I'm sorry I missed your open house. I hear it's beautiful, but we'll get there, I promise.
So speaking of that open house, if you are in need of a wine cellar,
yes.
Colin showed it to me earlier.
Yes, Pauline has got
beautiful,
a beautiful
very nice
property
wine
there.
cellar. Yes.
Top notch.
Yes.
Top notch.
She'll be delivering wine here at the end of the show.
Okay.
If you want to stick around.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I love news. Like breaking news.
It's fake news, actually. But okay.
Kirby does have a question about work ethic is great, and how do you know you're doing the right thing? Because you can have great work ethic scrubbing floors your whole life. So
look, I think wealth and work ethic and happiness are not necessarily all the same thing, So there's people that have a very fulfilled life and they work hard at what they do and they're happy and they're healthy, and that's a wonderful thing. So maybe for some people that is scrubbing floors. All I know is whatever you do, you have to be fulfilled. Hopefully you can provide well for yourself and your family, and know that you're being the very best at whatever it is. I mean, that's the advice I gave my kids. Pick what you want to do, but be the best at it.
Mm-hmm.
Second best isn't, or at least your second best isn't good enough.
Yeah.
So I think you can gauge it by self-reflecting and saying, am I actually doing the best I can at whatever I'm doing? So that's what I would say, Curbs.
cool. And Pauline's chiped in here.
About the wine?
Yeah, about the wine, and
Okay.
she apologizes for leaving you speechless, by the way.
Thank you.
um,
That was a deep question.
That was
No
a
more
deep question.
complicated questions. Gary.
Sorry.
Please screen those. Can we go back to the rapid fire ones?
Yeah.
That was a lot. That was more in my comfort zone. Yeah, that was good.
Much easier.
Yeah, for
Much
sure.
easier. I'll find us a good one here. So as I scroll through this, but I want to ask you this question is, creating new leaders is awesome, but I want to know what you're doing with like that next generation. How are you developing or looking for talent in that next generation that's coming? Because we all heard like the millennials, and that's the biggest
Pool
of talents.
Yeah.
Are you looking at that, or are you thinking about that, and how does your business move forward with that age group?
Yeah, it's a very good question. And I think more than just our industry, or more than just me, or more than just us would be looking at that right now, because it is a very, very big question that's top of mind. What I can tell you is this. So far, if you look back at some of the things we've done as a brokerage, they've all been a little bit ahead of what's been upcoming. So we put in an 80-person training facility way before all the training and buzz around education really came about. And I try to always be forward looking. Definitely technology is changing the way things are going, and definitely the millennial population is at the helm. So some of the things we're going to be looking at right now are drop-in pods, virtual office connections. So we're in the process of doing those things right now, but hasn't been announced until the show, so that's wonderful. I broke that surprise, but
And that's not fake news, folks.
Okay, we're having drop-in pods. I love it.
we're also going to be looking
I feel
at
like it's gone back to Star Wars or something. I don't know what that is,
Yeah.
but I like it.
Centralized processing, the ability to actually fast-track people's success, reducing costs, expandability, scalability of our systems. So even our phone system was built 10 years ago to be very, very scalable around the globe in order to be progressive. So these are all things that I'm very keenly looking at right now. So that's the direction we're going to be going.
And what are you looking at, or what are you looking for in the next leaders that you're developing?
I think you're always looking for character. It doesn't matter whether you're a millennial or whether you're in your mid-50s or beyond. I mean, I think that's it. It's character. I don't believe that blanket statements about being in your 50s gives you this kind of a person and being a millennial gives you another. I mean, it's character, and that's what I always look for in anybody that I get into business with.
Cool. So talk to us a little bit about coaching and why, or having mentors is so important for us. I know you're doing kind of something really cool at the brokerage with that, and talk to us a little bit about why that's important for one's success.
Yeah, in looking at the trajectory of our brokerage and the industry at large, it was very evident to me that that's going to be, and that is the major differentiator. So, and as you can see, even our competitors are realizing that coaching is an important aspect to the business, a void that really hasn't been filled correctly in a very long time. So, in meeting with our productivity coach, Jen O'Kane / Silbernagel, it's kind of a long name. I'm going to work on that with her.
With her,
yeah, Jay. We're gonna call her Jay.
Pick one.
J-O. Yeah, pick one. Yeah, it's complicated. Jen with 2 N's, and then you got an OK with Silbernagel. Anyways,
but we love her.
Jen. Yeah. If you could do the sound for her, she'd probably appreciate it.
Yeah. It's probably this one.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So, really, it's about bringing coaching that's relevant and that actually works. So, and if you look at most coaching, it's typically done in a centralized location by somebody who hasn't sold a house in a very long time and that sort of thing. So we're rolling out 3 different types of coaching right now. One is a coaching program for people just getting into the industry, or that are in the industry and looking to really rekindle their career. The next is a very niche market, which is administrative coaching. So realizing that there's a void between the leaders of particular teams and their administrative team.
Absolutely.
And how can we help them each get better? It's interesting. We have a 8-page questionnaire to enter into the coaching programs now, and covenants back and forth between the coach and the people in the coaching program. And then the next one is our advanced coaching program. So people that are at our cap level and above that really want to take it to the next level. And our training calendar is also tying into that. As you can see, we're bringing in regional trainers and so forth. So I think that everybody needs to be coached, or at least coached up. And you can only take yourself to a certain level, and then you have to rely on or at least tap into the experiences of others and their successes and quite frankly, their failures too.
Yeah, I think the key word in there, and I hope everyone caught it, was yes, everyone needs to be coached. Yeah, you caught it. You caught it. Coached up, and I love how you said that. That is such a key element. That's it is often missed.
Right.
Right.
I think so.
Is okay. We can have our peers or coaches hold us accountable, but how are they coaching us up, right?
Yeah, and I think too, not necessarily every coach is right for every, lack of a better term, student, right?
Yep.
So I think you have to search out someone that challenges you and knows how to properly motivate you. I would be sure I align with the right coach.
So, in even tying into coaching now, and I think it was Jim Rohn that says we are the average of the 5 people we surround ourselves with.
Right.
Then someone else says, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Or you're not that smart.
Yeah. Okay. So who are you surrounding yourself with?
Yeah, I'm alone a lot, Colin. Well, it's interesting.
Or who's in your circle?
Yeah, so I'm careful with that. So it's interesting. Like just recently, I was spending some time with Gary, and it was really a cool experience. Not this Gary, the other Gary.
It was pretty cool, by the way.
Yeah. And it was very nice. We got to spend some time together, a few hours, and it's very, very interesting. So when you have a meeting with somebody like that, and you get to meet with people of that kind of business caliber, for lack of a better terminology, it's very, very enlightening, right?
So when you're talking to, so that's Gary Keller that you're referring to.
Right.
When you're talking to people of that success, or I shouldn't say that.
Caliber.
What's the, not that there's always a main takeaway, but when you go visit with people like that, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. When you walk away, you're like, that was amazing because of fill in the blank.
Okay. So first of all, you kind of prepare yourself for that sort of an encounter. And I was like, oh, man, I'm cool.
Yeah.
So no big deal. It's just another guy, right? And the really interesting part was it was just another guy. Like he was, I find that the most successful people find a way to kind of, calm you down and make you relax when you're in their environment. And I just love the way he thinks. And, he was very humble. It was very, very... it was a very real conversation. Nothing superficial. I wasn't either. You know, we were very candid with one another on a lot of the things we discussed. And I think if you can be around people that are not only successful but are really truly candid with you, and it's a very relaxed exchange, it's just you leave and you really say, man, like that was, and it really was. It's not lip service just because Gary Keller's listening right now. He's not.
He's not. He doesn't have time for that.
You don't know that.
Yeah, he could be. I did text him on the way over.
Yeah.
Cell phones now. We're
Yeah.
besties. But you know what? It was very rewarding. So I think it's if you can have a genuine conversation with somebody, Gary, like that, then that lets you leave feeling that way. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're talking to people like that, or people that you trust, and you're looking for that support system, is there a common question that they are asking you?
I don't know. I'm not sure if there was really a common question, but what I liked is I had an agenda for the meeting. He had an agenda, this particular example, for the meeting, and we ended with a very clear, this is what's going to happen, this is what we're going to do by such and such a date, and so on. So it was really cool. Right?
Yeah. So just clear on the outcome, or at the end, clear on the outcomes, but clear on here's what we got to cover, so we have an outcome from this.
Yeah, but to bring it to something bigger, like as you said, even whether it's Gary Keller or whether it's our meetings or whether I'm meeting with a head of a financial institution or something like that, I like the way a lot of those people think. So I'm always looking for that in spending my time, right? So, and it's very interesting. Sometimes the biggest thinkers aren't in the roles that you would think they would be in. It's very interesting. So, I mean, I've had meetings with, not to put any particular industry in the wrong light, but farmers, and I found them to be very among the most intelligent people I've actually ever conversed with. Hardworking, very, very smart. So it's interesting. You never know where you're going to find that next influencer in your circle.
Where are you looking for talent right now?
Everywhere.
Okay.
Everywhere. And you know what? And it's easy to find everywhere if you look. So we've had instances where, we're in a restaurant and the server is evidently just abundantly talented. And I'll say, why are you doing? I was Tim Hortons the other day, and this kid that serves me is just abundantly talented. I asked him, what are you doing here? Right? I want you to give me I'll give up my card whenever I identify talent. If I truly think it's talent. Everywhere. But you have to have your eyes open. You got to be looking. It's everywhere. Trust me. You just got to find the right people for you. Yeah, it's everywhere. So you want to build a team? Talent is everywhere. Maybe the talent that you're looking for is not already a realtor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've heard that. Some of the biggest teams in the States go after non-realtors. They see talent in other organizations and whatever.
Sure. Absolutely.
We got literally 3 more minutes before we wrap this up. I can't believe it's been an hour as yet. Wow. So get some more questions in there, Gary.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so there are a few in here, and then we'll take a couple of minutes to wrap up. So Mike's asking, what's next for Marvin?
You'll have to wait and see.
So we've got some beers over here. I know that.
I brought in some really cool foreign beers for the after party. But I promise you, Mike, there's one more thing. One more thing.
Let me rephrase Mike's question a little bit and allow you to answer it.
Maybe not, but okay.
How do you plan 1 year, 3 years, 5 years ahead? Like what does that look like?
Well, I'll tell you, my 1, 3, 5 year plan sometimes changes.
Sure.
And recently, I'm looking at maybe some other things that might change my trajectory a little bit. I've always been a planner. You know what I mean? Like really kind of planning out every aspect of my life. My wife's retiring in a year.
Yes.
But I still have more that I want to accomplish. I think you just kind of know inside if you're there yet. And we're not quite.
You're not there yet.
No.
From Mike, who's your biggest role models? Who are your biggest role models?
They're black and white.
Okay, lovely.
So that's it.
Well said.
This is a paid endorsement. Black and white real estate podcast.
There we go.
Yeah, nice.
That did sound nice, actually.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. It's like music in my ears.
There you go.
No, that's cool. So, Marvin, as we wrap up here, what's what some closing thoughts? What message? Not to say this is what I want people to know, but if somebody was to meet you today, what would you want them to know about you?
I think that I care and that I want to help. So it's, you know what, it's very interesting. I find that when I teach, I learn. I find that when I help, I'm the one that benefits. I really do care. You know what? It's such a liberating feeling when you learn the law of reciprocity and truly live it every day, right? I do. I care about every single person in our company, everyone that deals with our company, and it matters to me.
Awesome.
So we just need more like-minded people, and I know they're out there. And you know, from the outside, they might think that we're all the same, but we're not. We're different. We're proving it, and we just have to make sure more people realize that, so they too can find their way to what we're doing. Right?
My question was answered a little bit in that question, but I'm going to be forthright with my question. As the leader of a brokerage, as the owner of a brokerage, why should someone who is in the industry be part of your brokerage?
I don't think we're necessarily for everyone, quite frankly. But if you're out there and you're listening and you feel that something's missing, or that you don't have collaboration, or you don't feel supported, or you don't have a real learning network, or you don't feel respected, or you just can't be yourself, or you just feel like something is just not right, then you should reach out to us. But if somebody is of that traditional mindset and they're disrespectful of others, or they're walking around like this, or they're not a team player, or what have you, maybe we're not right for them. That's okay. That was actually the most liberating lesson I learned when I was building the company. Not everybody's right for the company, and we're not right for everybody. But the ones that we are right for, the ones that get it a lot. And I think, things like this make me feel very good, because all of this started with an idea, and now I'm on what I understand is rated the #1 podcast in North America.
It is. Well, I can tell you it's the #1 podcast at 6142 Main Street.
And according to my mom, it's the #1 in the world.
Your mom's lovely, isn't she?
Yeah, we love his mom. Cool. Why don't you wrap us up there?
All right. Again, Marvin, thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you in the chair here with us. You spit a lot of knowledge out there. A lot of the comments coming in were lessons that take away bits. So very much appreciated. For those who are listening outside, again, you're tuned into the Not So Black and White Real Estate Podcast. Your hosts are Colin Campbell with Gary A. McGowan.
That's right. And the man, Marvin Alexander.
Thank you
very
much
so much for your time, your experience, your knowledge, and I know you're helping people just by what's happening around us. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you, everybody.
Cool. Don't forget, you can always catch us on Apple iTunes and Google Play, Spotify. If it plays, play it. All right.
Look at that.
All right.
Bye for now.
This is Dion Begg from Butler Mortgage. For the past 15 years, I've helped families answer the big 3 financial questions. How do I pay off my home faster, pay for my kids' education, and build wealth for retirement? We answer these questions through helping plan and fund significant investment property portfolios. If you're a first-time buyer or buying your first or 10th investment property, please reach out for a free consultation so we can ensure you build the best portfolio possible. Search for mortgagesbydion.com or call me at 800-518-1221.